What's good, everybody? Welcome back for another recap review show of BMF Season 4, Episode 9, Point of No Return, with your good folks here at Big Go Belt Media, ready to break the entire episode down, get into the nitty gritty of our second to last episode of this season. Lucas, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, man. I ain't got no quabbles, no problems. Not like Nicole and her baby problems. Hey, I'm good. I'm good this evening.
All right. Well, we're kicking things off as usual in Mexico, where we see the crew, the cartel, Loco, Terry, Meech, all in the car. Been in the car for hours as they are headed to an helicopter. But at the same time, too, they're getting shot at by the feds, and we kind of see how a measure of how they respond back in terms of being shot at by the feds, where the driver was shot, so Loco steps in and he starts to drive. And Meech obviously knows exactly what he needs to do. He starts shooting back, still blaming T for the situation with the kid, even to the point of even saying that he was dead weight and should have never brought him on the trip. This was one of the shorter of the Mexico little scenes of the entire season, but it definitely did set a precedence that no matter what, Meech is always going to blame T. Always going to make sure he's going to throw salt in the wound, even if it's in the dire point of them possibly being able to be killed while being chased by the feds while trying to get out of Mexico. Was there anything out of the ordinary here with you for you on this scene, or a lot of the same when it comes down to the dynamics with the brothers?
Nope. More the same problems. At this point, I'm wondering why T even deals with Meech. Everything's just going to confirm why T should never talk to Meech again. Yeah, because he is super disrespectful in this scene by saying we should have left you there. You're dead weight. Like, this is insane to say, but it builds upon the same issues that Meech kind of starting to look at Loco like his brother.
Yeah. All right, so then after that, we get Bryant and homeboy from the Red Dogs, and they did find the dead body of Laz, and they detailed it by saying he was shot in the mouth. And upon brainstorming, they said maybe it's BMF trying to send a message. But Bryant, very surprisingly, not in his typical Joe Jana Jameson sort of persona, says, no, that's not like them. That doesn't fit their MO. But immediately knows that they need to get the footage from Platinum Palace in order to make sense of everything, since that's where Laz was at, or that's where they sent him in to do his CI stuff. And then, hours or whatever later, he was found dead. What did you think about Bryant taking a moment of reason to not just fully blame it on Meech and them?
It was an episode, right? A Spider-Man where Venom did something and J. Jonah said, that's not like Spider-Man. That don't mean he still didn't want Spider-Man. It's just that he knew that wasn't like Spider-Man. So that's all this says here is J. Jonah Bryant understanding this is not like Meech. But clearly, the moment he finds out what's happening, you see he immediately goes back. Oh, he's a shooter for BMF. Bring me Spider-Man. Like he bounced back really quickly the moment he had fun. But it's just out of their character to do something like this.
Yeah.
But as I said last episode, that's why B-Mickie killed him, is to make it look like BMF did it, to set up Terry and Meech.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, though, because while that is true, if that was his whole plan, it still links to them. But B-Mickie shooting them in the mouth trying to send a message, as Bryant said, isn't really their MO. So, it was a thought, but badly executed. You know what I mean?
I think it's because Bryant is involved. Because if it was just Atlanta PD and it was the other dude from the Red Dogs, you see, he immediately said it was BMF.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, now we go to Terry and Meech, and because of this, now they're having a brainstorm to figure out what they're going to have to do. Immediately saying we have to change everything, including the phone. Terry happens to be the voice of reason here because he said, "Listen, man, that dude Laz is a rat." And then he also said something that you said that Meech, you are a terrible judge of character. And then Tina comes in and says, "Hey, she's heard on the streets that because everybody been talking that they found Laz shot and he was shot in the mouth." And then they immediately put together that whoever did this wants everybody on the streets to think that we did this for the raids in retaliation of the raids. And they also conclude that they think they might be getting set up. So with that, Meech and obviously still thinking they need to go forward to Cali, but Terry's like, we need to cancel the trip. And Meech is like, well, if we cancel, like we can't if we cancel this is something we're gonna have to it won't be a good look for them. Yeah. And then he said go to Lad's family and let them know that we're going to be paying for everything. And Terry said we're not paying for no snitch. What did you think of this scene of the two brothers trying to figure out if they should go forward to Cali or should they get things right here and cancel the trip?
More of Meech. I don't at this point. I'm not 100% sure if this show is like attempting to show that Meech is the worst leader humanly possible. If that wasn't the goal, they've done a horrible job. Yeah, because every decision he's making is some of the worst decisions to possibly make here. Yeah. Down to him saying, "Nah, we need to leave and still do this trip to Cali, even though your business is not at all set in technically 2 locations at this point. Yeah, that your business is struggling in, and now you want to expand to another place. Like, that's crazy." And then not trusting anything T has to say with Laz. Down to saying we're going to cover it, and Terry saying we're not covering for no snitch, and me saying, well, until we can confirm he's not a snitch. What? Like he literally left out of the Platinum Palace about to tell you something about the stash houses. He says, man, because the stash houses and your stash houses get hit.
Yeah.
2 + 2 ain't 6. Like it's just amazing how oblivious he is, or the way they show him being oblivious to so much stuff, because it kind of contradicts everything we would have thought about Big Meech before this.
And it is interesting. I think it is worth a conversation, because when you think about it, he said, well, he had all these people around him that were family, and within these type of organizations, gangs, families, whatever you want to call it, there typically always is a major snitch that flips everything. Yep. That really wasn't their demise. Their demise was actually to their own detriment of how they ran things, loose lips on the phone, all that sorts of different things. I mean, the billboard didn't help that this only got them even more pissed.
One of them wanted to be super flashy, and the other one was kind of reckless in his communication.
Yeah.
Like, that was the downfall. But here they showing it as, in all honesty, they never got along, and that Meech had people around him from the beginning he couldn't trust.
Yeah. Yeah. And and even if you know the story, like, they did have somebody that was caught up and started snitching a little bit, but that wasn't somebody that was necessarily close to them. So that sort of does kind of fit the MO of like Laz here, is like somebody who's like in but not really, and but I think, as you said, I think this is displaying a lot more about Meech's inability to read the folks around him. And being too trusting, and it just wasn't a good look across the board.
Everybody can't be family.
Everybody. Well,
some folks got to be workers.
No, because by the great philosopher Dominic Toretto, everyone's family.
Dominic didn't trust everybody's family. He had a baby by somebody who wasn't allowed to disable. So Dom didn't trust everybody as family.
Oh, yeah.
She popped out that baby and he kicked her ass right to the side. You're no longer allowed to have Coronas at the table. Matter of fact, the baby got a new mama now.
That really is what happened. All right, so Nicole was in the hospital with Lucille and Breeze there, and they're just waiting on the bed. I guess we're just seeing how hospitals operate then, now, and forever. But now we get to see B-Mickie. He is he's packing. No Diddy with the strap, also no Diddy. As he pulls up to the Flenory house in ATL. So he's finally reached his destination. And when he looks like he's getting ready to like make a move, he is surprised to see Charles. And Charles is also surprised to see him too. And he says, you don't show up to Atlanta without your wife and kids in the middle of the week and say you're still working at the plant. You must be back in the streets. And with that, you're strapped and you talking about patching things up. And he tried to pop it. He said, don't pop me after everything Lucille and I did for you with the I can't even talk right now. Yeah, Benevolent Fund. That could have went to somebody else. But anyway, he said, you know, can we go inside and talk about this? He said, no, I think you should leave. And, you know, all I know is Charles read that little boy. What did you think about that? And
first, yeah, everything him and Lucille did, nigga, you did nothing.
That was funny.
Nothing.
That was funny.
Yeah,
I will say he gets a little bit of credit because I feel like he definitely kind of added the extra persuasion to Lucille to make the move, you know. But nonetheless, yeah, Lucille had to fully execute. But continue.
Who the Benevolent Fund was gonna go to? Lucille?
She might have took it. She might have taken it.
She's still in money. So I mean, come on now. But this is more of, I didn't pay much attention to him concerned about B-Mickie being back in the streets. As much as B-Mickie's trying to say you're trying to make up things with Meech with a gun on. Like, at that point, you're not really trying to make up anything.
Yeah.
You don't bring a gun to a peace meeting. Like, you're doing that for a different reason. And he just picked up and read immediately that I don't think he's here for good intention.
Yeah.
Even him saying me and Terry are now cool working back together. I think Charles is like, nah, none of that makes sense. Like you ain't gonna fly all the way down here without your kid who's supposedly sick, just had surgery, all for peace.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, none of that makes sense. And that's what Charles read. And that's why he turned him away very quickly.
Yeah. I was interested, was Charles going to I mean, it's just like I say, over the last 2 episodes, good to see Charles has some street in him, you know. He make all those faces when he, you know, he's stroking his guitars and
I'm about to say no Diddy the way you was about to go. I didn't know where you was going there.
It's been an interesting ride for Charles, but it's good to see him. You know, since the last time they went down to Atlanta, he got in a little scuffle and he beat the other dude up for his girl that was short-lived that worked at the diner. It's good to see some street in him. That he was able to pick up on things and wasn't gonna let it go down like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, now Charles goes back in the house and the phone is ringing, and it is Lucille saying Nicole has gone into labor. Bring your ass home. He immediately calls the boys. All the phones had already been disconnected, so he leaves a note and rolls out. Now we get Tina, Meech, Terry, and Loco in the studio, and Tina talking about last grandma gave her all the info about what had happened with the Fed showing up, the raid in the house, and so on. So, you know, they're putting piecing everything together. And then Terry immediately looks at Meech and says, I told you your boy was a snitch. And then Meech puts it together that someone killed the informant and trying to make it seem like we did that. Loco wants to know, how you going to fix this? Of course, the brothers are disagreeing on their approach. But with that, he wants to know about, you know, are we all good, you know, with everything else? And he says, like, we still got the problem with the other cartel. And with that, Meech is still trying to convince Loco that they still need to go to Cali, you know, and with that they can meet other homeboy Mao and talk about the expansion of everything there. But Loco makes it very clear that no more mistakes. Now, keynote that Loco still has beef with the other cartel now. We don't quite know why, but I'm pretty sure this has a lot to do with whatever's going to happen in the finale episode in Mexico. Because
Also,
as far as everything
Loco,
I'm concerned, money has been moving good, and what's to be beefing about when everything has been fine,
Also, Loco and T actually agreed that they shouldn't go to LA.
That's true. That is a key point.
There's one person who still agreed that they should go to LA. Again.
Yeah. So now that they leave the studio, Meech goes back home and he's talking about Purdy and he sees the note about Nicole going into labor. And while that, homegirl's there and she's just out here just laying it on my guy, wants to be the only one to be with him, trying to lock down a relationship. But Meech wasn't really feeling that because he says he's under a lot of pressure. His family needs him. He built this shit, and beyond trying to, I don't want to say validate, but in the sense of like understanding where she's coming from, he's like, man, let's just go to Platinum Palace and dust this off. And she's like, nah, listen, if you want a party girl Meech, go find one, but that ain't me. And yeah, he immediately did. Because in the next scene, he goes to Platinum Palace, he meets Ashley, loves bomb her, if you ask me, talking about you my hero. And I forget what he asked her, but I think he said something about, what do you see in me, or whatever, or what do Big Meech mean to you, or something like that. And she responded back on something like, everyone loves Big Meech.
Shit.
Yeah.
Straight groupie.
Yeah. Also, or just a worker, because that is the place to be. You sell the fantasies, and that's what she did, and he ate it all up.
Remember, so she didn't know she like the bottle girl. She a waitress.
Yeah,
she ain't even a stripper. You look here, unless this ain't the time where we had starlets. Like starlets, I understand they selling you dreams behind those bars. But she ain't even a starlet. She just out this joint like, I'm just, you do everything big. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know where this is going at. You was trying to sleep with Big Meech.
Yeah.
And he was trying to sleep with you because he's mad because his girl immediately wanted a relationship after he literally just told her she was family. You see what I mean? Everybody can't be family. Meech should throw away a bitch in a heartbeat. He holding on to last for dear life.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So he's like, what do you think about Meech? And he got exactly the validation he was looking for, in contrary to everything that homegirl was saying. So yeah, he did exactly what he sorted out to do, Then with that, he brings her back home. And he's just basically laying out his whole story, giving her the whole script at this point, talking about the story in Detroit. And also gets the whole point of saying, like, you real, this is what I didn't understand. He was like, yeah, you are real wise to be so young. And of course, STARZ gonna hit that slow music right when things about to get spicy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the age thing was apparent or what are we to make of that, but I definitely think that line was supposed to mean something. Like,
oh no, she's super young. You can look at her face, and I think that's Shar Jackson. I think that's who it looks like. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And she's a childhood star who known a little bit, and she's extremely young. And I guess it's supposed to be portraying someone who's extremely, extremely young, who Meech meets.
Okay.
Even though Meech is supposedly still young here, but she's clearly wise beyond her years, as he put it. That's just normal sign for I'm trying to bang this little young junk now.
Yeah, it is her. Yeah. Sky Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's why I think it portrayed that this is a young girl who meets, but it's just more amazing the way he just completely abandoned the girl who's like, dog, I want to be here for you. I just don't want to party. And you're like, nah, I need somebody who want to party.
Mm-hmm.
And then he go get the young junk and then calls her a hero because she performed CPR on somebody who died. It literally makes you the opposite of a hero. You made an attempt but a hero you were not, ma'am.
Get that girl a
She's
Purple
still
Heart,
not.
man. She did it. She did it. Hey, hey, yo, when if you could bring a crackhead back to life, you definitely deserve a Purple Heart. Off the 50, you already know. Yeah, get that girl a Purple Heart and the Nobel Peace Prize for that. In the strip club, that's crazy work.
Hey, crazy work to put your lips on a stripper to give her CPR in the strip club.
Yeah,
don't know how many private rooms you've been in, but baby, without a mouth guard, you are not getting CPR from me.
Secondhand 50 contact will definitely put you down.
Hey. Matter of fact, the moment she did CPR, but she only did chest compressions, because other than that, she should have died with her.
Yeah, that the 50 watt will put you down. Hey. You gotta be careful out here in these streets, folks.
You even smell it, it take you out. Let alone you doing lip-to-lip contact with somebody trying to save them. Ain't no Narcan in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
They ain't had none of that back then.
All right, now we get Bryant and homeboy from the Red Dogs looking at the footage, and Bryant spots BMF member B-Mickie, and they also see Laz voluntarily got in the car on his own, and now they put an APB on B-Mickie's car. Now, Nicole's in the hospital. She's in pain. She's asking, is the family going to be there? And then we see that there is some complications as the baby heart rate is a little low. They perform a C-section. And then they ask who of the two people, only one person can go inside the surgery room with you, and she decides to pick her mother, which is a decision she made.
You can say it. Bullshit.
Yeah,
little man is supposed to speak up. Hell no, it ain't gonna be her.
Yeah, I am.
Your mom ain't letting you had this baby.
I am surprised. I am definitely surprised there.
She just stole $3,000 from you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't let thieves. She could have stole the baby. You don't let thieves in there with you. That is insane, Joe. But it also shows, like, in those pressure moments, in the end, as much as she told Charles she was worried about him leaving her with Lucille, we know that wasn't true. She was just mad.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we we're in Cali now, and they link up with Mayu, and he's just laying the lay of the land here, talking about gangs, talking about colors, the lifestyle, all that about what makes Cali and LA what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like anybody that's a tourist, the first time they go to LA, they see the Hollywood sign and the boys talking about, we're from hood to Hollywood. But anyway, they are headed to meet Loco's boss Manuel, and when they do meet him, he says, I hear all the stories about what happened in Mexico, and they say they're looking to expand the market, but he says, listen, let's meet tomorrow, a more formal business meeting. And when they do that, the boys are going to head to the Magic Johnson charity game. I was wondering what was the whole point of them having a meet to have a meet. But I guess it was to establish, Manuel, like his flashy lifestyle. He has the Lamborghini, he has the girl.
You got to see him stunting.
Yeah. I will also say you also got to see them stick out like a sore thumb. Like they don't look like they are they're locals. They don't look like they're from Cali.
Yeah.
So but you had to let you always in every show you gotta let the boss, you gotta see what he's what's his whole thing to kind of separate from the rest.
He got to stunt down Rodeo Drive to let you know that he's the boss.
Yeah.
Shout out to how many times I've been to LA and I've never seen the Hollywood sign. It's never been something I needed to see.
It's just there. You don't gotta look for it. It just be there.
I don't even look up at the sky. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I've never even looked up in the air to see one. Like, no, I'm good.
All right, now we get Nicole, who was in surgery, and she has now delivered a healthy baby boy. We look like we had a little umbilical cord scare wrapped around the neck. Something pretty common, by the way.
It's as common as C-section is amongst black women.
Yeah, yeah,
I swear they don't want y'all to push them jokes out for nothing.
yeah.
They will give you a C-section in a heartbeat.
Yeah. She delivers Little Meech. So she first thing she said,
Demetrius.
Yeah. Look, so we have a Big Meech, Little Meech, and Cousin Meech.
There you go. Yes. Cousin Meech is older than Little Meech by a lot.
Yeah.
Nephew Meech is in, I think, 30, 31.
Oh, so yeah, Father Meech, Uncle Meech, and Little Meech.
There you go. That's too many Meeches.
Yeah.
Might as well be George Foreman at this point.
Yeah.
Naming all your kids George.
Yeah. Yep. So now we get a highlight of the Magic Johnson Midsummer Classic. And also with the after party as well, too, where all the who's who is to be there. Now
I'm super immature about this. I couldn't even help it. I laughed so hard.
Why?
Who the hell in the mid-90s is going to the after party of a Magic Johnson game? I ain't gotta make a joke. Y'all know what y'all was thinking. And no, absolutely not. Absolutely AIDS everywhere. No.
At this point though, they didn't know. Just FYI.
No, they did.
No,
he was positive in 93.
Yeah,
he currently in 96.
He retired though. He retired after he
retired because he was positive. He retired in 93.
Yeah.
Remember,
I don't know what year but he was still active here. He was still active here.
No. He had his classic when he wasn't playing basketball.
Nah.
Yeah, so we're in 96.
I don't think we're in. That's way too. Oh wait, we just had the Source Awards.
95.
Yeah. So we're still in 95, 96. So yeah, Magic Johnson. When did he retire?
93.
96. So you are wrong. Magic Johnson retired in 96. So
he retired of AIDS in 96 because Michael had his three-peat by then. Magic, the Dream Team was in 93. Magic was already retired from the NBA.
Wait a minute. Magic Johnson retired in 91 following his HIV diagnosis. So why are they saying 96?
Because he came back. He came back to play again.
Oh, that's true. Sure.
They just knew he was positive when he came back to play.
True. So yeah, one way or another, everybody knew.
Yeah. Oh, by this point, everybody knew what he had. It was no secret at all to nobody.
Yeah, little did they know he had the cure since 92.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop saying that man got the cure. That is so disrespectful.
Disrespectful to you saying everybody in there. You said AIDS everywhere.
But that's what they thought. I'm just bringing up the perception of people back then. Clearly, because I mean, even when he came back to play basketball, you know, it's a very known thing that Karl Malone came out and said, "I'm not playing basketball against him because he may give me AIDS." Like it was back then, it was the fear of it. One, not understanding that Magic Johnson does not have AIDS, has never had AIDS, but back then it's so like rare. That's what I'm like. Everybody goes to an after party with Magic Johnson. That's crazy. Now it wouldn't be because everybody is more. We're more educated on what the virus is, and you understand that one, he does not have the cure, but HIV does not kill you as long as you take medicine. He was just a rich person with medicine.
Yeah, he has a cure. He's good.
Yeah, that's so disrespectful. It is so many people out in this world currently living very full lives of HIV with no issue at all that you could sleep with raw and not catch it from them.
Oh, like, hell no. Nah. Well, you going... I'm going back to the show here because
I'm just speaking facts. I'm just speaking facts, and that's I'm just equating it to the time with Magic Johnson, and then that's what people thought back then. So it's crazy that they would actually show the Magic Johnson Classic because how many people on the East Coast even knew stuff like this was taking place?
Well, okay, but that's the thing. We're now on the East Coast, we're on the West Coast, and I think that is highlighting like where did everybody? It's just another staple of whatever city that they're in.
I think Easy
and even to the point too, like,
in the West Coast, I think Easy passed away before this too. Because Easy, I think it was in '94. He passed away from AIDS. Around the time of creeping on the come up. I
Could
think
be.
it was before Eternal 99 for Bone Thugs.
Yeah, could be 95. But I mean,
Yeah.
either way, because this is besides the point. Besides the point is that they're there, and I think what they're trying to portray here is that the who's who was here, and they didn't really identify anybody. Although I am under the suspicion that one of the people that was clearly tall as hell and bald headed had to be Michael Jordan, to show that the BMF boys, they interacted with everybody.
Either Michael or Shaq.
Because they showed Shaq highlights.
Well, Shaq
so
definitely would have been there.
Yeah. And Shaq was everywhere, which is interesting. That's what I mean. Which would be interesting if they had that moment, because Shaq was also very prominent in Magic City, which means that if Shaq was in LA at the Magic Johnson Classic, whatever, they would have had to have ran into him again.
Oh, definitely.
Back in Atlanta. And maybe that is why they showed Terry hanging back with the ballers while everything was going down, to kind of really, and that's really what I want to talk about real quick, because while we see Mayu has beef and everybody fighting, Meech obviously jumps in. If he sees a fight, he's in the fight. And when he's fighting, he looks back at Terry. Terry's watching, but Terry is hanging back with some ball players, which could be Shaq, could be MJ, could be whoever. But we also just seeing how the Bloods and Crips get down, if and basically on site.
Yeah.
But then after that, they're in the car riding, and the brothers arguing again. Thanks for the backup. And T said, "Listen, I'm not fighting everyone else battle." And he said, "He's family." And of course, that's the theme of this whole episode is everybody. Everybody. It's crazy that like Meech literally just got burned by Laz in terms of being a rat.
Naming another nigga that fast.
And he just claiming somebody else. But with that happened, the BMF chain was broke, and they made that a point. And I don't know if that's to say like chain snatching originated in LA. I don't know what they're getting at with this.
That definitely ain't the point to say that, because one, I don't know how much pride you're gonna have in chain snatching of a nigga who knocked your tooth out your mouth.
I mean,
the goal is to take a chain.
I guess you gotta get something, right? You leave it here with something.
Not a Denzel. I'm leaving here with something.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that was just more of this showing like that Meech can let things go, because we understand the importance of that chain. But instead of him going to get vengeance, it's about making a business deal after that.
Yeah. I thought that, we'll get to that in 1 second, but that's where Meech sort of makes this communist plan of like, let me know where they be at. We're going to handle things my way. You definitely thought this was going to be like one of those retaliations, blood for blood type of thing. But Miles says like, this is only going to happen. He's only down. Terry says he's only in if this happens to happen on mutual grounds.
Yeah.
Now we get B-Mickie mother, a B-Mickie wife, and some other mother. They're just on the playground, only to discover that B-Mickie's daughter has gone missing while at the playground, because that's where all kids seem to get abducted at, right in front of their parents' face.
Exactly.
And she can't find them. That sends her in definitely in the scare, but in a frenzy, because she can't believe that her daughter is missing right here in her face.
Yeah.
But now back in Cali, they go to the market. And when they go to the market, Meech immediately pulls up on the Bloods, and you think it's about to go down, but he makes a claim saying, "I don't gang bang, and I'm really not here for all of that. I'm just a black man trying to bring the crews together and trying to make people some money." And of course, they're just like that. We done heard this before. We're not buying in, and a lot of other dismissive talks. But I mean, Meech being the good salesman he seems to get them to be interested enough to see, how they may be able to work together. Everybody work together in order to make some money. And by the end of this conversation, they seem to be on board for that. Now B-Mickie wife is talking to a cop and just basically giving a missing person's report on her daughter, giving her the cop the description. Only next to see the return of Lamar, who's in his hearse, and he's in there with B-Mickie's daughter, and says, "I'm just a friend of your daddy's. He knew I was coming to get you," and gives her a stuffed animal. Of course, we all knew what that stuffed animal name was going to be. His dog Blackie. And he says, I had a daughter called Zoe. She don't talk to me no more ever since her mom went to heaven. And it's so funny because Lamar is so unhinged. He out here trying to have a whole deep conversation with this young girl who probably got 10 words in her vocabulary. And one is definitely roof, if you even want to call that a word.
And a couple is clearly don't talk to strangers. That is clearly not in her vocabulary at all.
What did you think? What did you think of the return of Lamar and his what his plan may be here?
It's kind of odd because at one point in time I did think that this was him and B-Mickie's plan, but now we realize it wasn't him and B-Mickie's plan. That B-Mickie went off the rails with a plan, and now this is Lamar getting payback, even though B-Mickie's trying to do exactly what Lamar wants to do. Like this is it feels. It feels a little rushed, convoluted a little bit here. Of exactly what the end goal is here with Lamar. You love to see Lamar back, and we've been questioning, like, when are we going to get Lamar back here?
Yeah,
and it's kind of mad that we get him back in the last 2 episodes when we should have been seeing him plotting this all along here.
Yeah,
because kidnapping B-Mickie's daughter, I mean, at this point, you just made all of them your enemy.
Yeah. I was surprised. I just wasn't really. I was a little underwhelmed, and it seems like he's building up to something. But I guess I was just suspecting a lot more. But seeing him ride around in the hearse is already sadistic enough for me. And he about to put. I swear to God, how close is let me look this up real quick.
I mean, kidnapping a little girl was insane to me, and I've seen so many episodes of Law and Order. I clearly knew that little girl was about to be kidnapped. The moment you even show her in the playground and the mom's not paying any attention at all.
Yeah.
To where this little girl is at.
All I know is they knocking out these 11-hour drives from Detroit to Atlanta like it's nothing. And the fact that they about to be in the back of that hearse with no seats.
11 hours. 11 hours. You've got to be kidding me. Dog. I know we on Game of Thrones time, Joe. Like 11 hours is only 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
In that car.
Yeah. All right. So now they're back at Cali. They're on the beach now, and Mayo's like, "I'm surprised to see you above ground, but you must be a good salesman." He says, "Yeah, we good." And basically, Mayo's like, if you're able to, well, he says like, I can't let the Bloods make all the money. It seems like they're in now as the Crips, since he's able to broker a deal with the Bloods. And it was also made it a point that Cali is the capital of the titty capital of the world. That's because they haven't been to Miami yet. But
clearly, because I was so confused by that. I was so confused by that.
Yeah, but bro. I guess we'll let
maybe white ones. That's maybe white ones, but definitely not. You ain't touching Miami. At no point in time was Cali touching Miami. But this is just more interesting to see just the dynamics of saying that Meech is brokering deals with the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah.
Like, because he's so neutral. But they saw you hanging out with a Crip when you got to LA, which normally would be a sign that we can't trust you at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and besides rap albums back then, I didn't know the Bloods and the Crips to be this friendly with one another.
Yeah, I definitely was very surprised that that's how easy it was to make a connection like that. So,
but again, I literally said it, brought it up, and then thought about it again. Like, this is the time where we used to get rap. I don't know if you ever heard one, because you're a little younger than me. If you ever heard or knew that the Bloods and the Crips made rap albums together.
Nah.
Yeah. I had a couple volumes of them junks, all on cassette from Sam Goody. Yeah, Bloods and Crips used to make rap albums together.
The fuck? What are they talking about? Are they like diss? Are they diss records? Or like they unity?
Legit. I want you and the audience to look up the Bloods and the Crips rap albums, and you could be like, wait. I want to say they was like called "We're All One Gang" or something like that, but it was Bloods and Crips who would get together and they recorded albums together. And I had like banging on wax was the name of them Jones. I had a couple of them Jones too. So maybe this is back in the time when you could broker piece a little bit.
I guess. Interesting, because around this time is when there was a West Coast, East Coast beef, and there was definitely a lot of talk about who was responsible for whose death, even in their respective cities.
Even though in both sides it involved Bloods and Crips. So
yeah. All right, so moving on now. So we get Bryant and homeboy from the Red Dogs again. They found B-Mickie car. And of course, they up to some dirty work. Because let's just say that we have a statement from somebody saying they saw a suspect enter the room right there. And it's like, oh, sure it is. So obviously they break in and enter. Nothing's in the room, but they did. While they looked like they didn't find anything, Bryant, doing what he does best, goes the extra mile and didn't find the gun. And the gun happens to be the flashback to the connection to his son, deaf, little Kevin. So you only can imagine how far he's willing to take this. But then B-Mickie is walking up. He sees them and runs off. Now we get Lamar and B-Mickie's wife, and he says he's looking for B-Mickie. And he says, we had a deal, but he ambushed me. So where he at? And while he takes her phone and redials the last number she called, and it's a hotel in Atlanta, gets the address, and want to know why they're in Atlanta, and said he's in Atlanta to finish off Meech and T. Yeah. I really did. I had some concerns with this scene because I was like, did he discuss that's why he was going to Atlanta to finish off them? Wasn't the last conversation they had about how you couldn't let hatred and revenge consume you? And then immediately he was like, you know what? All right, thank you, but I'm about to go finish them off real quick. And she's like, all right, see you later. Take care. Safe travels here.
My man got a surgery for his daughter, and everything went downhill. Like everything went downhill from there.
Yeah. I just was definitely surprised about how that response went. But whatever. At the hospital now, we get Nicole looking at the baby. They said the baby looked just like his father. Well, Charles looked at that, looked at her and the baby, and I don't think he fully agreed there. It was something about Charles' face that was giving me, maybe he's not agreeing with Nicole is seeing right now. But then after that, she announces that her and Breeze are moving out because their family needs their own place, needs a place of their own. And while Lucille wasn't fully on board, seems like Charles was very much embracing the idea that, they're grown and they got to do what they got to do. It's interesting that that's the dynamic because Charles seemed to have been the one to be more present in terms of wanting to be there for them and having them close by. Lucille wants everybody out the house so she can collect money. So
she's trying to get her welfare game up, bro. She got time for nobody else.
Or do I misunderstand this? And she needs them in the house so she can collect more because they're dependent.
Say she should have kept them in the house. Nicole could have got on welfare. Get that good wick. Get that good cheese and milk for free.
Oh man.
But this is more weird because isn't Breeze in college?
Yeah,
so
freshman year.
Dropped out of college to get a place with Nicole, who's also not in college. She don't work.
Or they get a house in Atlanta. And he still goes to school, You
gotta afford the house in Atlanta. Who paying for a Meech?
Hey, listen, I don't know. I know enough to know Nicole can afford a house in Atlanta. Anybody can afford a house in Atlanta. You want a 6,000 square foot house for 100,000? Atlanta. Now, granted, you're gonna be sitting right on top of the jail, but you got a house. Don't worry about it.
For that much, you may be in a really good neighborhood. It don't take much. It don't take much to get in the suburbs of Atlanta. We understand. You ain't getting in the city, but back then you possibly could have gotten in the city. Now you're not getting in the city, but you can get on them outskirts for a good $200,000 and be very picky. I've seen house hunters and be very, very picky on the house that you get for that amount of money.
Why you think what's dude name that went to jail that had the show and his daughter named Savannah.
It's about the white ones, Chrisleys.
Chrisley's knows best. Yeah, why you think them white folks was down there thriving the way they were? Because they knew there was, and it wasn't enough to the point they had to hustle people even beyond that.
That's just
Todd Chrisley and whatever.
That's just being greedy. That's oh man. But again, it's very interesting to see where this angle goes, because we know that's the first thing he promised his mom. Like, I'm not dropping out of school. I'm going to continue going to school. And now you're talking about him and Nicole moving out. And how does that look for them? And is she going to be comfortable moving to Atlanta?
Yeah. So we're going to see what's up with them and where their family goes, to be honest. I think they go to Atlanta, but we'll see. Now Loco's on the phone and he is going off. I haven't seen Loco really razzle in the way that he was right here.
Yeah.
But with that though, he ends up talking to Meech next on the call, and he says that he wants to know, like, did you handle the business with the other cartel? And then he says, like, listen, I'm proud of you. Things are handled well here in Cali. And this is very ominous. Like, I just knew this was coming. And especially how it was shot and the lingering shot, and Loco gets in the car and the car explodes. And this is a cartel hit. Clearly the beef with the cartel wasn't over. And I was wondering where this was going to go with one more episode left, but we find out very soon. Now Markeisha is out here just at the bar talking loose lips, as I like to call it, talking about the business, talking about her new business partner, talking about how it's not with Boom, but it's with T. And homegirl talking about, oh, you know, the streets are talking. So she knew she acting like, you know, she randomly picked up this information. I also saw this coming from a mile away. And I guess we'll talk about, you know, the result of that afterwards. But anyway, Meech and T, now they are at Manuel's place, and he out here talking about, you know, I'm going to be the black Pablo Escobar. Never seen somebody rolling their own cigar. And then he started letting them know that, you know, he made the connection between the Bloods and Crips. So, like, you know, he's getting everything set up in Cali to make more money. And then, you know, he says, like, you know, listening to Loco, he says, you know, listen to Loco because he's our family. And this is why he wants to be honest about everything in terms of mentioning about the heat that they have in Atlanta. And then he said they appreciate the honesty, and they say you passed the test. And then Terry comes out and says, like, you know, with all of this, I need to be in the loop with everything. Because we know Terry typically is on the outside of things. Especially how Meech and Loco's business was going. But then after that, and I don't know, I think I'm forgetting something here. But after that, we find out Manuel comes out and says, like, unfortunately, okay, I know what happened here. So, like, with everything, they says, you know, Loco needs to be involved with this. Meech and Terry, everybody needs to be in the same conversation. And that's why Terry says, like, yeah, I need to be in loop with everything, because as we know, he typically wasn't when it came down to Loco and Meech. But then Manuel says, well, unfortunately, Loco is dead because of a car bomb, because of the rival cartel. And Meech thinks to his, you know, kind of mumbles to himself, or mentally speaks to himself and saying, like, he told us everything. You already know this is going to affect him. But because of Loco's death, the beef is now over with the rival cartel. So it looks like everything is all good to go for the money and the pipelines and everything to be opened up, because initially they were saying they were going to shut down the pipeline in Atlanta because of the heat. But, you know, because of the honesty and everything with that, it looks like they're going to be good to set up things for in Cali. So, anything else or your thoughts about sort of this conversation with everybody here?
It was just confusing for me to say Loco told them everything. I was super confused by that, because where? Like this, but this is, again, it goes back to that connection that him and Meech had that him and Terry did not have.
Yeah.
And this just helps separate the brothers more.
Yeah.
Because Meech is super affected by this, and Terry is not affected one bit, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much. Very much so. Now we see a car driving, and it's a car accident, and you start to wonder, who could this be? And it is Boom, who
Rams, Lakeisha.
Rams, thank you, Markeisha T-Bones is the word I was looking for.
Markeisha. I said
Markeisha here.
Markeisha.
Yeah. And he gets out the car and said, man, that meat was for us. But the street's been talking, and while Markeisha tries to cop a police, he says, nah, Kiki told me everything. And Markeisha tries to, I'm sorry. And the Boom's like, I love you. Why do you make me do crazy things like this? And while she tried to cop a plea, Boom made it very clear that, nah, Markeisha, I've had her in the bag this entire time.
But you said Markeisha, but the other chick, he's been fucking her the whole time.
Yeah, I think her name was Kiki, something like that. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what do you think happens to Markeisha next?
I'm just gonna ask an odd question here. Why the fuck are you ramming a car of someone because you're mad? Like, I don't want to hurt myself. Like, I could have easily waited till you got home and attacked you. Yeah. What I'm not gonna do is T-bone you, destroy my stuff because I'm mad at you. Like, this is. It really shows just how emotionally immature Boone is.
Yeah.
But it also shows that this is all Markeisha's fault.
Yeah.
She's been playing both sides this entire time.
And eventually it was gonna blow up. It's
gonna eventually catch up to you.
Yeah.
You can't play on everybody's intelligence and not think eventually someone's gonna come after you for it.
Yeah.
So this was her fault. He's an idiot for doing it, but it's still her fault.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know where this leaves Markeisha at, because she really can't tell Terry that this happened. Because Terry's gonna have questions that she can't answer.
Yeah.
She gotta bite the bullet on this.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Terry and Meech now. And Meech just looks to be depressed and ultimately just down about Loco, as he now says, which I think that's when we can give him a pass on. But he says, man, Loco is family. And this shit. And he said, that shit that you told Manuel about, you need to know everything. He says that's bullshit. But anyway, he says, call Pops, because Nicole had a healthy baby boy. I'm sorry. Pops called and said Nicole had a healthy baby boy. He says he hope you all can come home soon. And he said, I tried calling you when B-Mickie came to the house. But obviously their phones were disconnected. And then after that, Meech said, did you know about this already? And that's where Terry lets out about everything about letting B-Mickie back in.
Yep.
And then this is where they start to put everything together now, because he says, I didn't tell him to put that hit on Laz. I did not put him up to that last shit. And he says, it's been him the entire time. And then this is where he lashes out at Terry and says, like, worst things ever happened to me. You can't get shit right. That's why Nicole named the baby after me. And now they need to figure out what Bryant and B-Mickie. Now they under the thought that maybe Bryant and B-Mickie are working together. And that's where he concludes by saying, fuck a track, you either with me or you ain't. So what did you make of all of this? This was a scene I was a little confused on, because B-Mickie being here, so they had to see B-Mickie at Platinum Palace.
No, they didn't.
So they didn't see him at Platinum Palace. So cool. So right. So they either see him or they didn't, but he was there, and they probably didn't see him because that would just blow his whole cover trying to sneak up on them. Mm-hmm. But then had the idea that they think B-Mickie was the one that put him up to the last thing. I mean, maybe they figured that's the only person that would take a shot like that. So cool. They know he's in town. So cool. Makes sense. So they would have pieced things together really quick. But I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
None of this fixed that point that Laz is a snitch. None of it matters because Laz is still a snitch. So if you want to say B-Mickie set you up because he found out that Laz was a snitch, okay, possibly. But why would you think he's working with Bryant? When you know what happened between him, Kato, and Bryant. So why would you then think he's working with Bryant? This ending, again, it just brings up the same issue of saying, at this point, you got to think they go from the smartest drug dealers in the world to some of the most naive people humanly possible by not putting simple things together. Yeah. And that's the problem here with this scene. Now that Meech attempting to hurt Terry by like even bringing up the code name that baby after me. I don't think Terry got 2 kids. I don't think he cares. He literally has a Terry Jr. already. I don't think any of that affects him. But again, this shows just it. At times, it shows the immaturity of Meech in these moments. Yeah. Of thinking this tit for tat thing while also at the same time not acknowledging that he's fucked up repeatedly. And he always looking for someone else to put the blame out on. Yeah. And Terry's that punching bag right now. Well, I should have never worked with you and all this other stuff. In all honesty, if we're looking at their business, if it wasn't for Terry, there wouldn't be any business. Meech does everything off of emotion in everybody's family. Like it's very odd the way they're showing him operate here. Yeah, and we're still in the 90s, and he's operating this way. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, like, where's this finale going towards? Is it just a race to find out, about B-Mickie and Bryant? Yeah. Instead of fixing the business, which is all screwed up, and Terry's constantly pointing up, we need to fix the business. Mm-hmm. And Meech is not focused on it. Yeah. All right, so last few calling Terry a tender dick every opportunity.
All right, so last few scenes now, we get to Atlanta police station. They're checking the gun into evidence. We get Lamar and B-Mickie's wife and the baby girl. And he makes the proposition of either you can go with or without you. Puts her in hand ties as she decides to go. And Lamar, of course, gets to sing a song because he got to turn everything. He always got to have a melody. He always has a melody on his heart. So Lamar sets to make that 11-hour ride while they sit in the back with no car seats, just slipping and sliding on that flat, hard surface back there,
and hand ties. So you're not eating.
Yeah.
What we doing here, bro?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and then after that, ultimately, we get to hear the narration of them. I think it was Terry that's saying,
Terry,
they are now, they're headed in a collision course with all their enemies. So everything and everyone is in Atlanta. And while they're in Cali, they're going to be heading back as well too. Only for B-Mickie to be there, only for Brian to be there, and Lamar. It's going down, and that does set up a good finale, a conclusion that we hope brings a lot of fireworks and definitely satisfy us for season 4. This episode was okay to me. I think upon watching, I was like, okay, but it's episode 9. Sometimes episode 9s typically are really explosive, but as they are deep within their seasons and the uncertainty of if there is a season 5, because I don't think there had been news for that. Let's check that.
I don't think it's not been announced yet. If there is one, it's not been announced so far.